All right. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday morning, and I just want to make sure that we go over something really fast before we actually get to our Constitution test. So let's go ahead and begin. All right. So when you start your Constitution test on Tuesday, when you come in, you're going to see a post that looks very similar to this one. Okay. It is not going to be titled Quiz Example. It is going to be titled Constitution Test. Okay. If you click it, it is going to give you an explanation of what the assignment is. It'll show you that it is worth out of 3 points. And it'll give you an explanation of what the test itself is going to be like. So this is not a real quiz. This is just the quiz that I gave my class as a practice round so that they could see what the quiz will actually look like for the Constitution test. There are multiple choice as well as short answer questions. And there is a rubric that works out of a 3-point system. Remember that your grades work on a 0, 1, 2, or 3 grade. The assignment is going to be graded in 3 points. This is going to be how the rubric works for your 3 points. So there are 4 sections in your test, 5 questions per each section. Overall, there are 20 points, okay? Each section is broken down to the 5-question limit. So those 5 points actually don't get inserted as 5 points. They get transferred into a 3-point system, okay? So the way the 3-point system works is you could get a 0, a 1, a 2, or a 3 out of 3 points. A 0 means that you got 1.5 or 0 to 1.5 questions correct out of 5 points in each section. So that would equal a 0 out of 3. If you got 2 to 3 questions correct out of 5 per section, you get a 1 out of 3 for that section. If you get 3 to 0.5 or 4 points correct out of 5 questions, that means you have a 2 out of 3. And if you get a 4.5 to 5 points out of 5 possible points, that means you received a 3 out of 3 points. Now there is a description on how 0 will be unsatisfactory, which you have made very little effort to do the test, or you did not study at all, which is why you tested so low, or you didn't complete it. A 1 means it needs improvement. Overall, you're showing me that the work was either not completed correctly, not completed at all, or there is some completion, it's just not at a satisfactory level. We want to make sure that you're showing your responses and your short answers with details and with complete comprehension. If you received a 2, it would mean that your proficient or required work was completed at a satisfactory level. Your short answers also demonstrate that you're understanding the concepts, the material, and your detailed responses give us more of that explanation. And a 3 out of 3 means you're doing excellent. It means that all of your work was completed at a satisfactory level. Your short answers demonstrate that you are understanding the topics and that you are writing good responses. If you go down, you'll see that there's the compromise section, the first section of the test, the branches of the government, second section, checks and balances, third, constitutional amendments will be fourth. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. Each one is worth 5 points, but we change it into the 3-point system. Overall, that would mean that there's 12 points because that is something that we cannot insert into our grade book. We're actually going to be taking the average of the 4 sections, okay? So if you score a 4 out of 5, it means that you have a 2. If you score a 2.5 out of 5, between 2 and 3 means you have a 1 out of 3. If you score 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5 falls under the 3 out of 3 point ratio. And a 3 on constitutional amendments means you have a 4.5 out of a 5. And once again, you have 3 out of 3. So we take the average of those sections, AKA we add all of those numbers together and we divide it by 4 since there are 4 categories. A 9 out of 4 means it is a 2.25, and that will be what your final grade will be put into the system out of 3 possible points, okay? So 4 sections, 5 points worth each. Those 5 points get transferred into a 3-point system, and then we take the average of the 3-point system out of the 4 sections, and that's how we get the average for your final test grade. Let me go ahead and exit this window out for the rubric and show you what the quiz actually looks like. So the quiz is going to be titled Constitution Test. It is going to be a Google form. You may have used these to complete surveys, to do a few questions, but it can also be used to take a test, okay? So if you click it, it is going to take you to this link. Oops, sorry, not that link. This link. So it'll give you a description This is a free quiz, purposely so you can see what the quiz will look like for this class. There will be multiple choice questions as well as short answer questions. Notice there is a rubric on the assignment post. Your upcoming test, aka your test today, will have a rubric that will help you understand your grade on a 3-point system. So notice that there is this area that says anything that has an asterisk means it is required. As you can see here, this is a requirement. If you do not complete it, it'll show you this is a required question and you cannot click next until you completed that question. See? It also has a progress bar down here that will show you how many pages there are for this test so that you can know exactly how much more you have to go through and you can keep track of time as well. So first and last name, my name is Cesar Chavez. Go ahead and click next. You can see that there are sections as well. Each section will have a different color, okay? And this one is a dark color. Notice that this one does not have a dark color because it is simply a question. This is a section. The sections will have an explanation or a description of what resources you are able to use during this test. Remember that you cannot seek other websites unless it's the websites on that description, and you cannot get help from anyone else. Okay, very important, otherwise it is considered cheating. If you continue to go down, you see that under section 1, we have 1, 2, 3 questions, and then it's next page. Your sections are actually going to be composed of 5 questions, as I mentioned earlier. So you'll be able to use those resources to complete the test. Make sure that you only use those resources. Now we go to question 1. It says, which branch of the government is responsible for interpreting laws? We know that the legislative makes laws, the executive carries out the laws, and the judicial, which has judges, interprets the meaning of what the laws are. So it is going to be judicial. Now I want you to notice that once again, it is a required question and it is worth 1 point. If you go to question 2, it'll show you that it is a short answer question, okay? Not options for you to choose from, but a box for you to enter your answer. So this is a random question. What do you like to do for fun? I like swimming and reading. Plain and simple, short answer. And then I want you to notice that for this question, it is required as well, but it does not show us a point system because these questions cannot be answered with a perfect answer so that it can be graded. Therefore, Mr. Peterson and I will have to go back afterwards and we will be grading the short answer questions manually, okay? So that's why it does not show you how many points it's worth, but it is worth 1 point. The Constitution was written in 1787. It is a required question and it is worth 1 point. We know that there's page 2 out of 3 already. So when we hit next, it is gonna be page 3 out of 3. Page 3 out of 3, right? Section 2, one other section. Bold, purple line. It may be a different color next time, but for this quiz, you know that it is purple. Once again, there is a description of the resources that you cannot use, and you cannot use any other resources except the resources that your sections tell you. Number 4, short answer question once again. It is required, but it does not show us points because we will come back to grade it afterwards. Which branch is the president a part of? That one's easy, executive branch, right? We all know that. And then last question, it is a multiple choice once again. It is worth 1 point and it is a required question. So let's read it. Number 5, a celebrity named Jones often speaks about social and political issues. She has a big Twitter following. Recently, she began tweeting numerous criticisms of the president each day. This began to hurt the president's public perception badly. So he ordered the FBI to arrest her. Which amendment did he break in the process? So we know that as a person, you have the right to speak out your mind, freedom of speech, right? That is part of the First Amendment. So if we are able to mention anything that we think, use our speech, or post it online or a newspaper, press, we should be okay. Therefore, that is the First Amendment that was broken. Once you are completed with all of your questions, you submit it, and it'll tell you, congratulations, your response has been recorded. After that, you wouldn't have to do much else. I just want you to remember, you cannot use outside resources, other websites. You cannot get any help from anyone, and make sure that you are not cheating, okay? We want to make sure that you are doing your very best, and this is your opportunity to show your teachers what you have learned and how you can apply it, okay? Hopefully this test is easy for you. I hope that you prepared a lot, and I wish you the very best. Good luck.